Let's talk about inflation. Are we experiencing inflation right now? Is this inflation permanent or temporary? And finally, what can you do to protect yourself from this inflation? Hello everybody, my name is Jason Foreman. Typically, I give you guys these weekly market updates once a week. I've been busy, I've been distracted from that because I've been helping so many people buy and sell homes, but I'm excited because I'm back to giving you guys the financial and real estate market updates. If you want to see more updates like this, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that way you keep getting more and more of these videos and you stay up to date every single week. Also, go ahead and click the like button so that way more and more people who can use this information will have access to it that will help them and that will also help grow this channel. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's no denying in the United States we are feeling inflation. Overall, we have an inflation of about 6.2% as of October in 2021. That's really big. So a typical inflation rate in the United States is 3% per year. We're experiencing double that. This is the highest inflation rate ever since November of 1990. So gas has gone up by 50%. A lot of people are feeling that. Some people own electric cars. However, most of us use gas. Many Americans are feeling that price increase at the fuel pump. Food has increased by 5.9%. And used cars have gone up by about 25%. That's due to supply chain shortages of import cars coming in through the docks, especially locally here at the Port of San Pedro at the Los Angeles Harbor. So what is causing this inflation? At the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of businesses shut down through no fault of their own. A lot of people were unable to return to work because they were either infected or because they wanted to stay safe or simply because of the policy of their workplace, it just shut down. So what did the government do? The government gave a lot of people stimulus checks. I agree that this was a good idea to give this money in a temporary emergency situation when people are facing this financial situation and something is stopping their business from operating due to no fault of their own. Month after month, people have been receiving stimulus checks and unemployment. And once I saw that, I thought, this is going to lead to problems in the future. We're kicking the can down the road because we didn't want to see people have financial problems. We didn't want to see the stock market go down and things like that. We wanted to continue to stimulate the economy so that way we could have a strong economy and we could bounce back from this situation, which is a good idea. However, the longer we draw this out, I knew that we were going to run into inflation. And basically, just a recap, inflation is more dollars in circulation. So people were receiving money. So that's good. You have more money. However, when there's more money around for everybody to have, each dollar is worth less. You need to spend more money to get the same product or service due to inflation. Many experts are predicting that these prices are now permanent and it's the new future for us. What are some things you can do to protect yourself from inflation? Well, one thing you could do is buy a home. And of course, I get it. I'm a real estate agent, so you guys are expecting I'm going to tell people to buy a home so that way I get more business. However, that is not the reason I'm mentioning that. As long as you buy a home and it's affordable to you, and it's a 30-year fixed rate loan, meaning that you borrow money for 30 years, sometimes less, to purchase the home and those payments remain the same throughout the whole life of that loan, that is one hedge against inflation. Your cost of living for paying for that home will not go up or down. Some things, local taxes, local fees, and taxes can go up, but that's a smaller percentage and it doesn't happen as often as inflation overall. So people who currently own a home with a 30-year fixed rate, they have at least one hedge against inflation. Their groceries may go up. The cost of gasoline may go up. However, the monthly payments that they make on their home did not go up. That's one way to protect yourself from inflation. Now, I know a lot of people, I live in Los Angeles, I know a lot of people who say they cannot afford the home that they want to live in. A lot of people are comfortable renting, they want to have their options open. Fine. One solution to that is that simply buy a one-bedroom condo or something smaller that's more affordable and fix it up and make sure that it cash flows. When I say cash flow, I mean that the rent that you get coming in will pay more than the mortgage, the monthly payments on the home. The remaining amounts will either be invested back into improving the home, maintaining the home, or into your pocket as income like you get every month for a job. I'm really excited because the last few properties that I represented buyers were actually income properties. And so what I was able to do is I was able to calculate the cash flow and make sure that they made money every single month and got a return. This is another hedge against inflation. So keep in mind, you guys, even if you can't buy your dream home today, you can buy assets, smaller homes, and collect the money from that. Now, if the cost of living goes up, Think about it one side. If you're renting or if you've ever rented before, you know that the landlord will raise the rent on you every 6 months or 12 months, however long your lease period is. The reason that they do that is because of this inflation, because the cost of living goes up. The cost for goods, maintaining the property, and usually the tenant covers 1 or 2 utilities like water, electricity. The price of those things go up as well. So instead of hurting and feeling that on the receiving end as a tenant, you could be the person who owns that property and the value of that property goes up and it's a little bit more money in your pocket every single month, as opposed to life getting harder, you working just as hard to get the same lifestyle. Another thing that people can invest in that will help hedge against inflation is investing in the stock market. Now, typically inflation is 3% every year. That means if you have $5 in your pocket, that $5 loses about 3% of value every year, give or take. Typically, the overall stock market increases by 10% per year. So if you put $100, $10,000, $5,000, you're most likely going to have your money stay at its value based on inflation, 3% per year. Since the value of the stock market typically goes up 10% per year, you'll actually make a little bit of money. For example, if you have $5,000 in cash sitting in the bank and then you take it out 10 years later, you'll be able to buy a lot less with that $5,000 10 years later. However, if you put that $5,000 in the stock market, it goes up 10% per year, more or less. The value of that money in the stock market will go up and you could cash out for even more money in cash. Those are just a few strategies to hedge against inflation, to fight this never-ending uphill battle that your dollar is losing its value. And like we're seeing with the pandemic, sometimes unexpected things happen that speed up this process or increase the severity of inflation. If you guys have any questions, if you're looking to buy an investment property, you're looking to rent out a property, you have any general questions about money and finances, go ahead and send me a DM at JasonF_real estate. The time I filmed this video is the day before Thanksgiving. You guys, happy Thanksgiving, stay safe, and I'll see you next week.